What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and as you could probably see from that thumbnail, which I haven't made it yet, but I can only imagine what I'm gonna make, and I can imagine that you clicked on this video for a very specific reason. Oh yeah, this is fascinating, y'all. Check this out. House committee issues subpoenas for Epstein files and depositions with the Clintons. That's right, Bill and Hillary both are gonna have to come into the House Oversight Committee and be grilled by House Republicans and probably praised by Democrats, to be honest with you. Right now, these closed-door depositions, they're not usually conducted by Republican politicians. They're usually conducted by the House Oversight Committee's investigators, to be honest with you. Like, sure, some of the Republicans may be there for it or whatever. They may sit in. They may have a few questions. They may ask. But for the most part, the Oversight Committee investigators are going to be the ones asking questions and laying everything out. So this is going to be fascinating. I can't wait to hear what James Comer has to say about those closed-door depositions. I wish we could get an open committee, committee hearing. That would be freaking lovely, y'all. But let's get into this because this is fascinating, y'all. This is really fascinating. Look, it seems like we're ever inching closer to getting transparency on this thing. I know a lot of people out there are very, very black-pilled on this and are like, nah, we're never going to get anything. But look, I hear you. I'm kind of right there too. Like, I almost gave up on this thing. Like, but we keep getting these little bits of red meat. Just, it's like somebody's flinging them out of a car going down the road, and we're like, oh, a piece of candy. Oh, a piece of candy, like Homer Simpson. I think that may be what's going on here. Oh, a piece of candy. They're just flicking stuff to us, you know. But hey, it is what it is, y'all. Like, they're dragging us along. Maybe it's all for naught. But maybe we get transparency in the end. You never know. The House Oversight Committee subpoenaed the Justice Department on Tuesday for files in the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking investigation and is seeking depositions with the Clintons and former law enforcement officials, part of a congressional probe that lawmakers believe may show links to President Donald Trump and former top officials. Now, I imagine it's only Democrats, and I am sorry to tell you this, right? I don't have some sort of crystal ball or some sort of clairvoyant abilities or anything like that I can see the future, but I can almost guarantee you that Democrats are going to be very, very disappointed when they get those files. And hang on, the only reference to Trump is in the investigation where they were asked, hey, did Donald Trump show up? And they said no. And that's it. That's all you're getting. But, you know, you never know, folks. Donald Trump may have been a very, very pervasive guest at Epstein's Island, or Little St. James Island. You never know. I mean, the likelihood is very, very slim. But, you know, you never know, folks. The Republican Control Committee issued subpoenas for depositions with former President Bill Clinton, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and 8 former top law enforcement officials. The committee's actions showed how even with lawmakers away from Washington on a month-long break, interest in Epstein files is still running high. Trump has denied prior knowledge of Epstein's crimes and claimed he cut off their relationship long ago, and he has reportedly tried to move past the Justice Department's decision not to release a full accounting of the investigation. But lawmakers from both major political parties, as well as many in the Republican presidential's political base, have refused to let it go. Rep. James Comer, the Republican chairman of the Oversight Committee, noted in letters to Attorney General Pam Bondi and the former officials that the cases of Epstein and his former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, have received immense public interest and scrutiny. While the department undertakes efforts to uncover and publicly disclose additional information related to Mr. Epstein and Mrs. Maxwell's cases, it is imperative that Congress conduct oversight of the federal government's enforcement of sex trafficking laws generally and specifically its handling of the investigation and prosecution of Mr. Epstein and Mrs. Maxwell, Comer said. since Epstein's 2019 death in a New York jail cell as he awaited trial for sex trafficking charges. Conservative conspiracists have stoked theories about what information investigators gathered on Epstein and who else knew about his sexual abuse of teenage girls. Republican lawmakers on the House Oversight Committee nodded to that line of questioning last month by initiating the subpoenas for the Clintons, both Democrats, as well as demanding all communications between President Joe Biden's Democratic administration and the Justice Department regarding Epstein. Bill Clinton was among a number of luminaries acquainted with Epstein, a wealthy financier, before the criminal investigation against him in Florida became public 2 decades ago. Clinton has never been accused of wrongdoing by any of the women who say Epstein abused them. One of Epstein's victims, Virginia Giuffre, once gave a newspaper interview in which she described riding in a helicopter with Clinton and flirting with Trump, but she later said in a deposition that those things hadn't actually happened and were mistakes by the reporter. Clinton has previously said through a spokesperson that while he traveled on Epstein's jet, he never visited his homes and had no knowledge of his crimes. The committee is also demanding interviews under oath from former attorneys general spanning the last 4 presidential administrations: Merrick Garland, Bill Barr, Jeff Sessions, Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder, Alberto Gonzalez. Sorry, I forgot to throw the "and" in there. Lawmakers also subpoenaed former FBI Director James Comey and Robert Mueller. However, it was Democrats who sparked the move to subpoena the Justice Department for its files on Epstein. They were joined by some Republicans last month to successfully initiate the subpoena through a subcommittee of the House Oversight Committee. Today was an important step forward in our fight for transparency regarding the Epstein files and our dedication to seeking justice for the victims, said Democratic Reps Robert Garcia, the top Democrat on the committee, and Summer Lee, who initiated the subpoena, in a joint statement. Now we must continue putting pressure on the Department of Justice until we actually receive every document. The subpoena gave the Justice Department until August 19th to hand over the request records. Though such requests are typically open to negotiation and can be resisted by the Trump administration. The committee is also asking the former officials to appear for the depositions throughout August, September, and October, concluding with Hillary Clinton on October 9th and Bill Clinton on October 14th. Multiple former presidents have voluntarily testified before Congress, but none has been compelled to do so. That history was invoked by Trump in 2022 between his first and second terms, when he faced a subpoena by the House committee investigating the deadly January 6, 2021 riot by a mob of his supporters at the U.S. Capitol. Lawyers for Trump resisted the subpoena, citing decades of legal precedent they said shielded an ex-president from being ordered to appear before Congress. The committee ultimately withdrew its subpoena. Yeah, so that's fascinating, y'all, and I'm glad they are pushing for this. However, it does seem to be a little bit manipulative. Like there's a little bit of political theater going on with this. You know, it's like this. It reminds me of one of those scenes in Rocky, you know, one of those training scenes where he's walking through the cooler and there's these giant, just, you know, dead carcasses just hanging right here in the butcher's cooler or whatever. And he's sitting there just punching. That's kind of what I feel like right now. I definitely feel like that. Like there's red meat right there and I can almost grasp it. I can't take it home though. It's right there and I can hit it, but I can't really do anything with it. I can't just munch on it. You know, it's not ready yet. It's like I want this information to come out because we want accountability for this for the most part, right? But we'll never get accountability. You know, now that I've thought about this a little bit and the statute of limitations has expired long ago on this, we could still get the transparency we deserve, and we could still get the knowledge and cancel these people outright. Because, you know, if these people were actually tied to this, it's going to be really hard to prove anything. But, you know, Bill Clinton should be admonished. To be honest with you, he says he had nothing to do with it, but we know Bill Clinton's past, right? He said he likes them young. I didn't say that. That's his words. It's not mine. But look, they're bringing in all kinds of people on this, and I'm glad to see it. Looks like a little bit of political theater here, sure. But once again, like I said, there's a lot of red meat right there, and it's just, it's so close, y'all. It's really getting close, and I can't wait to see this. I kind of can't wait until this story goes away. You know, I have this really, really strong feeling, this strong sense that a lot of people are going to be very, very disappointed when this stuff does ever come out, right? Like Democrats especially right now. Democrats, you can tell. This is something that they saw and they jumped on because they have absolutely nothing else. They have no message, they have no leader, and it's all utter chaos coming from the Democratic Party. It's just a bunch of buffoons walking around in a circus festival, if you will. So they saw something and they jumped on it. Hey, good, props for them. Hey, good, do what you do. Good job for seeing something and jumping on it, right? But your focus is in the wrong areas here, my dudes. Seriously, you're expecting Trump to be heavily involved. I doubt it. I highly doubt it that he is. But once again, like I said, there's a slim chance that he is. But, you know, who is to say otherwise, right? I certainly don't know. I have no idea, but my guess is no. No, as a matter of fact, you know, Trump has come out and said many statements that would lead me to conclude that, yeah, no, I highly doubt it, because Jeffrey Epstein was trying to scalp Virginia Giuffre when she was working at Mar-a-Lago. So, yeah, there's a bit of a history there. Yeah, that's when Epstein got kicked out of his club or whatever, and he booted him from his friendship circles. So I highly doubt they were ever involved in anything. But hey, like I said, man, you never know. We need to get those files to find out, if we'll ever find out. Because, you know, honestly, any incriminating evidence on Donald Trump, it could have been deleted when Trump was in office, for crying out loud. And any incriminating evidence on any Democrat could have been destroyed when Biden was in office, for goodness sakes. And this is the fascinating thing about this, and I've brought this point up several times, but I must bring it up just about every time. It is very fascinating to watch the Democrats flounder and yell and scream and gnash their teeth about the Epstein files and the transparency from the Trump administration when they said nothing the entire time Republicans were yelling and screaming about Epstein, pretty much ever since 2019, before that even, but, you know, kind of in a major way since 2019, we've been yelling about this. We want transparency on this, all through the end of Trump's term and all through Biden's term. Democrats, nothing at all. And now, all of a sudden, now that it's politically advantageous for them, now they're concerned with transparency. Oh, they're concerned with accountability. No, they're not, folks. Once again, and this is why Democrats' polling numbers are in the freaking gutters. This is why a lot of people, like normal people, look at the Democratic Party and they say, it's filled with psychos. Sure, there are some normal people, of course. Most Democratic voters out there, they're normal people. They're just like me and you. Right? They're just people. They're not to be hated, to be mocked or ridiculed or anything like that. They're just normal people that happen to agree with a lot of the Democratic Party. But some of their tenets are insane. And a lot of those voters, they're like, yeah, I don't agree with that. But everything else, you know, but most Democratic politicians are just psychotic. Just, if you ask me, most of them are psychos, and that's it. They really are, because they don't compromise on anything, ever, it seems like. But I'm rambling at this point, so y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all don't forget to smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you're new around here and you like what you heard. Share this video anywhere and all over the place with everybody you know. That would be great. Sign up and become a member. That would be the best thing you could possibly do to help this channel expand and prosper. Y'all do all that for me, and y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.